welcome. Hi, everybody. I'm going to get started in about 3 minutes. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm so excited to be here with you guys. How are y'all doing and where is everybody? Is everybody in DC like me? It is so beautiful outside today as compared to yesterday. It's so nice outside. I wish I could have gotten outside today, but the Rona got us on lockdown. I hope y'all have had a wonderful hump day. We're gonna get started in just a little bit. And just in case anyone doesn't already know me, my name is Ashley Cloud. I am an attorney with the Small Business Administration, and I am hosting this DC Now event's Small Business Takeover, and I will be discussing the importance of networking and maintaining your personal brand. So that's what we'll be talking about tonight. This is going to be a short and sweet session. Just so y'all know, this is my very first time ever going live, so please bear with me. Oh my god, I see some of my friends. Hey Chico, oh my gosh. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I'm so excited to be here with you guys. I hope that what I'm going to share with you will help you in some kind of way. Sometimes these kinds of things can be a little nerve-wracking, but I always have to remember, like, I'm trying to help someone, and that's where I keep my mind so that I can just move forward. So I'm really excited to be here with you guys. We'll get started in just a few seconds. Just want to make sure that we have a few people in here so I don't miss anyone. And we'll cover a few housekeeping rules, and then we will jump right in because I have some great information that I want to share with you guys, and really want to make sure that y'all are living your best lives professionally, for your small business, and just here to help and share my knowledge and what I've learned throughout the years. Okay, so because we have 30 minutes, I'm going to go ahead and get started at 7:30. So what we will be talking about here is maintaining your personal brand and the importance of networking. Again, my name is Ashley Cloud. I am an attorney. I work for the Small Business Administration, which is a federal agency that their sole purpose is to help small businesses. So I am the great-granddaughter, granddaughter, and daughter of entrepreneurs. So working at the SBA is an awesome thing that I am able to do, and I love the opportunity to be able to help entrepreneurs in any way that I can. And even if you're not an entrepreneur, even if you have a regular 9-to-5 and a career, I think that the information that I'm going to share with you will be very valuable for you in the advancement of your career. Again, I am taking over the DC Now events Instagram page today for the Small Business Takeover. We're talking about personal branding and networking. So that's the topic of today. And just to give you a little bit more background about myself, I'm from Houston, Texas, H-Town, represent. I am an attorney. I graduated from Howard University School of Law. I also got my M.B.A. while I was at Howard University, and I really got to put my networking to use in both of those scenarios. So I'm just so happy to be here with you guys. If anyone at any time has any questions, there is a little question icon. If you hit that icon, hit me, fill in whatever question you might have, and then that way I can tune in and answer your question when I get the question, right? Okay, so let's just jump right in. So I'll just be honest, I have not always been super aware of personal branding and networking. And if I'm being honest, I think that there were times in my life when I kind of actively avoided it. I think the networking piece, I always felt like it seemed kind of fake to me, and I just was like, why am I having to talk to people with this intention of I need something from you, help me type of thing. I'm more used to just having casual conversations, more organic conversations with people, and then maybe it leads to something, maybe it doesn't. Sorry guys, there's fireworks going on outside, so if you hear that, that's what that is, fireworks. I mean, it's August now, but anyways. So I have always kind of, in the past, tried to avoid networking as much as I possibly could, but I realized that it is so important and it is key. And it is key a lot of times, because at the end of the day, a lot of times you might be going up against someone who has the same credentials as you, just as smart as you, went to the same schools as you, had the same training as you, but they have connections. And those relationships make all the difference. And I think for me that was really hard, because I've always kind of been like a very independent person. Like, I'm gonna just do it on my own. You know, I don't need nobody to help me. I'll figure it out myself. But at the end of the day, I can't get myself into a room unless someone opens the door for me. Sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes that's the case. And so sometimes you have to humble yourself and be like, okay, I need help. And so that's why it is so important to network. Just to give you a little spiel about some of the ways that it's helped me in my life. Just me doing this live right here is a product of me networking, really, honestly. And why I was initially invited to do this live with you guys is because I recently got invited to be a part of a book. And here's the book. I'm sorry, it's kind of in reverse. But basically, it's a book for anyone who is an African American who's interested in going to law school and becoming a lawyer. That's something that is so near and dear to my heart, is to give back, like I'm doing right now. So I got approached for being a part of this book because of my networking and my personal brand. So let's just jump right in. I have a few tips for you. Grab a pen and paper, because I really think that you're really going to get a lot out of what I'm going to tell you. So the first thing you need to do is to identify your personal brand. And when I'm saying that, I'm really thinking of the first question: what are you known for? What do people think of when they think of you? What's the first, like, if they're, you know, if they need help with something around the house, like some kind of DIY project, do they think of you? Is that something that you want to be thought of for, right? So the second question to go along with that is, what do you want to be known for? And so what you have to do is realize what you're already known for and what you want to be known for. And then what you can do is fill in those gaps. Like, okay, maybe I'm a little rusty on this skill, and this is something that I really want to work on, because I really want people to know that they can come to me if they have a need, right? And so that's a way for you to assess your personal brand now and where you're trying to go. The other thing is also, what are you already just naturally good at? What are your natural talents and abilities? Those are some things that you don't have to work hard for, because it just comes to you. What are those things, right? And if you can't think of exactly what those things are, if you can't really, you're like, I don't really know what I'm known for, ask around, ask a friend, ask family members, ask colleagues, ask your boss. Like, when you have a project and you're trying to figure out who to assign that project to, why do you choose me for that project? You know, things like that. That's the kind of stuff that sets you apart. That's what goes along with your personal brand. The last part of this is, what's your story? What's your story? So basically that's taking everything into consideration. Your personality, your background, your skills, your talents, your education, your training, what makes you qualified for whatever it is that you want to be qualified for. And tell your story, you know, and it might feel like you're kind of like crafting it, but it's really just talk about yourself. You know, when you talk about yourself, what are the things that you want to say? And speaking specifically to entrepreneurs, a lot of times these days, consumers are really interested not only in the service or product, they're also very interested in knowing more about who's behind that service or product, right? So they really want to get to know you, regardless of if you are in the forefront of your business or not. I got a question. Let's see what the question is. Okay, yes. How can someone identify what they're good at? So, I think you really have to just do a deep dive into yourself and just think about, what are some things that come naturally to you? What are some things that you can really just it just comes so naturally to you. You don't even have to think much about it. So, okay, I'll give an example for me, right? One thing that comes naturally to me, to an extent, I'll say, is like fashion and styling, right? So oftentimes, I'll get a random FaceTime from a friend and like, Ashley, I'm in a store. What do you think about this top? Or what do you think about this look? Or something like that. Like, what about putting this together? That comes naturally to me, right? Like, that's not something that I have to like go Google and figure out. That's just something that it's just in me, you know, like that's just me. So just really think about the things that come easy to you, things that you enjoy doing that don't seem like a lot of hard work. That's how you can determine what you're good at. And thank you so much for that question. Okay. All right. Oh, how do introverts network? Oh, that's a good one. Oh, okay. So I'm going to segue into this, but let's jump right into it because this hits on the next. You know what? I didn't pin that one. Oops. Sorry. Okay, there we go. How do introverts network? Okay, so I am an ambivert. So I am very much, like, I've done the Myers-Briggs test so many times, and I am right in the middle between an ambivert and an introvert. So I even though I do have some extrovert in me, I do have to muster up some kind of energy to like get myself going sometimes. And so for me, one thing that I've realized as a, I guess, quasi introvert is, first, I have to realize how important networking is. Another thing is I try to take the pressure off myself by remembering that we're all human beings. And a lot of times people are nervous. A lot of people are usually nervous in those networking types of scenarios. And one thing that I do, and this is kind of getting to the next point, but we'll get there, is that I will set a goal for myself. So if I'm going to a networking event and I'm having to like, oh gosh, go up to people and speak to complete strangers, I will set a goal for myself, say 3 people, okay? Just like focus, 3 people. I need to make 3 good connections, and then I can breathe again, right? So that's one thing that I do to help with networking as a partial introvert. Another thing is, nowadays, especially in the Rona days, is networking is not limited to person-to-person conversations, right? So you can network via social media, you can network on LinkedIn, you can network via email, all of these different ways. So sometimes that will help you if you're a little shy or you're not so comfortable going up to people because you're just sending an email. So I hope that answered your question, but I'm actually going to get to the next topic because I think it's really going to help with, now that we're really talking about networking a lot. So let's move on. So the next topic this is so important. This is probably this is one of the most important topics that I want to bring up, is professionalism. Professionalism is so key. It is so key when it comes to not only your personal brand, but just networking, both, right? So when I'm talking about professionalism, I am talking about creating a foundation for yourself, right? So we're all individuals. We all have different strengths and we all have different weaknesses. We all have different interests. We all have different business interests. We all are doing very different things. But you want to have professionalism as your foundation, no matter what you're doing. No matter if you're a creative, no matter if you're a lawyer, doctor, PR, whatever it is, you want to be professional at all times, especially when you're doing business, right? So the first impressions are lasting. And I'm sure we've all heard this a gazillion times, but it's so true. It's so true. And the 2 topics that I want to talk about when it comes to professionalism is, first, dressing the part. And I think that when I'm saying that, I'm not saying you need to wear a suit every day or you need to be all buttoned up or anything like that. No, but you need to look polished, right? Because what you don't want to happen is, before you're walking up to someone and you haven't even gotten a chance to say anything to them and they're already looking at you like they don't even got it together, you know, before you can even talk, right? So you don't want to count yourself out before you've even given yourself a chance. The second part is, and this is huge, and this is a huge pet peeve for me, is punctuality. Please be on time. Always be on time. And the caveat to that is, if you can't be on time, if for some reason you get in a car accident or the train is jacked up and backed up or whatever the case may be, and you know you're going to be late, the second that you know that you're going to be late, let the other person know. That goes for calls. That goes for meeting someone in person. That goes for anything. Either be on time or let them know as soon as you possibly can that you're not going to be on time. Because I cannot tell you how many people I know that I was scheduled to have a call with or a meeting with, and they were just like, no call, no show, no nothing. And I was like, I'm pretty much done, because a lot of times you're reaching out to people for help. And they're not going to want to help you if you can't even be careful and considerate with their time, right? So you don't, like I said, you don't want to count yourself out before you've even given yourself a chance. And so that's why first impressions are so important. Make sure you're on top of that. The second part to that is accessibility. You want to have business cards if that is something that makes sense for your business model. So I just grabbed one of my business cards. This is a business card that I created on Vistaprint for about $20, and super cute. And a lot of times people are like, oh, this is nice. Like, it cost me $20 and I got like 500 business cards, and I'm already like creating some type of expectation as to what people should expect from me, right? Because that's really what professionalism is about, and your personal brand itself. You're creating an expectation for what people should expect from you, right? And you want to make sure that that expectation is a positive reflection of you, not a negative one, right? You don't want to be the person that is like, all right, well, I mean, I'm setting up this meeting with them, but I already know they're probably not going to show up. They're probably going to look raggedy or whatever the case may be. You want to put your best foot forward always. In addition to the business card itself, even if you're not using business cards, you want to make sure that all the information that you have available to them as far as getting in contact with you is current. You want to make sure phone number is current, your email address. If you have a website, make sure that the link works. Now, these things seem very basic and like duh, but I have experienced where I've connected with someone and I've tried to get in touch with them to keep the conversation going, and all their information is wrong, and then I'm just like, well, I guess that's done, and you lose that connection. So you want to make sure all of your information is current and up to date, right? So basically with that professionalism is you're creating a foundation for yourself, and you are creating an expectation of what you want people to expect from you, right? This is what I want people to expect from me when they interact with me, when they do business with me, because you don't want to lose business. You might be so talented. You might have the best t-shirts, shea butter, whatever the case may be. But if when someone reaches out to you and they're trying to learn more about your products and you get back to them 2 months later, they probably gotten some shea butter or some t-shirts from somebody else now, and you don't want to lose out on business that way. It's just, it gets to a point where it's kind of easy to just respond to people, take some time if you have to make sure that you're taking care of that, right? Make sure that you are staying in contact with people. Make sure that you are being responsive to people. Make sure that you're following up with people and following through, right? And so with that, I will tell you, I have had so many encounters where I have reached out to individuals after I've met them, and they're a little shocked. They're a little surprised that I actually followed up with them, because a lot of times people will collect business cards and then put them in the corner somewhere. And I used to be one of those people until I realized, you know what? I'm looking at this job and I think I met someone a while ago that either worked at this place, or I think that they might know someone else that works there. And so I was like, let me pull out this huge mountain of business cards I have and try to find that person and reach out to them. They're like, oh, hey, Ashley. Yeah, this is great, right? And so you never know. So you want to make sure you're staying in contact with people. I see that there are some new people here. So happy that y'all joined me. Just want to remind everyone, I'm Ashley Cloud, and I'm here with the DC Now Events Takeover, and we're talking about personal branding and networking. And the first two topics we've talked about is identifying your personal brand and professionalism. Now, the third topic, we've kind of talked a little bit about these things, but I kind of just want to make sure I hit them, is to be strategic. And when I'm talking about being strategic, I'm talking about your just networking. Be strategic about your networking, but also be strategic about your personal brand, right? So when I'm talking about being strategic when you're networking, right? Like I said before, set goals for yourself. Don't just go to a networking event and I'm just going to get this free food and these free drinks and I'm going to just talk to my friends and then I'm going to go home. Now, if that's what you want to do, if you really aren't interested in making connections, all right, I've been there. I've been a broke law student. I'm just hungry, right? And so sometimes you do just want to do that. But if you are on the grind and you're trying to make something happen, if you're trying to elevate yourself in some kind of way, you got to be strategic. So one thing that I like to do is I'll set a goal for myself. I'll say, okay, I'm going to network with 3 people. I'm going to make at least 3 connections, and I'm going to make sure I stay in contact with them. I'm going to make sure they remember me, and I'm going to make sure that I follow up with them and we have coffee, right? So that's one thing to do. Another thing to do is to be intentional. So if I'm going to go to an event, I'm going to make sure it's an event that is aligned with what I'm trying to do. I'm not going to show up to I'm trying to think of I don't know, I'm a lawyer and I work with small businesses. I'm trying to think of something that doesn't really make sense for me to do. I don't know, if there was some circus convention, I don't know, right? So why would I go there? That's not aligned with what I'm trying to do, right? So I need to make sure that the types of events that I'm going to and the people that I'm connecting with are actually going to help me and that I can help, right? And that's something that you don't want to get lost on you, right? You are just as much an asset to others as you are trying to find those assets in other people. Don't forget that when you're networking as well. You have something to offer, right? And the last thing is, when I'm talking about networking, is to have an elevator pitch. Now, I learned about elevator pitches when I was in law school and in business school. This was something that they told us that we should have. And basically, an elevator pitch is something that you can quickly say to someone who's say it was a CEO, right? At some company that you wanted to work at. And you just so happen you're in the elevator with them and you have 10, 15 seconds to say something to them while you're on the elevator with them and before you part ways, right? So that's what an elevator pitch is. And so I'll just give you a very short, impromptu example of an elevator pitch. Hi, my name is Ashley Cloud. I am an attorney at the Small Business Administration. I am very interested in working with small businesses. I'm also very interested in working with fashion professionals. And I would love to get your contact information and stay in touch with you because I am very interested in the work that you're doing. And I would love to grab coffee with you whenever you have a chance. Boom, you're done, right? So that's something that you can have in your arsenal. So whenever you have those quick meetings, and it's also really helpful for introverts. It's made me think of that. This way you're not having to think so hard because this is something that you kind of just have in your back pocket already, that you just already have ready to go. You've already rehearsed it and you've already talked about this before, right? So that's another tip. For your personal brand, when it comes to being strategic, you want to be consistent, right? You want yourself to be consistent with your personal brand, as well as if you're representing a brand, you want to be consistent with that as well, right? So one example that I can think of is okay, say you sell t-shirts, right? But every time you go to a trade show or a networking event, you're wearing 2-piece suits. You're wearing a full suit everywhere you go, right? So I might be a little bit confused. If you sell t-shirts, why are you always wearing a suit? Can I see what your t-shirts look like? Do you even like your t-shirts? Why don't you wear them, right? So being consistent, right? So I'll give you an example for myself. I love thrifting, right? I love fashion and I love to thrift. That's just a part of who I am naturally, and that's just something that I love to do, right? So this top that I'm wearing, I got it at Goodwill. And these earrings I actually got these at a thrift store as well. So I am big on thrifting, and just in case anyone is wondering about, oh, how do I dress and not spend a lot of money if I'm just trying to make it out here, thrifting. It's key, right? Okay, we got some more questions. Let me check them out. How would one know if they are an introvert? Are there any signs? So, how do you know if you're an introvert? There's actually a personality test called the Myers-Briggs test. And it will tell you exactly what your personality, and the introvert part is a part of that. So that's a way that you can, if you're not sure, it just asks you a bunch of questions, like 40 questions, and it will tell you exactly what your personality is. And it's crazy because I feel like throughout my life I've evolved, I've changed, I'm a better person. But when I take that Myers-Briggs test, I am the same every single time. I mean, since I was 20, I've taken that test maybe 4 or 5 times, and I get the same result every single time. So if you haven't already, look up the Myers-Briggs test. It's Myers-Briggs. And it's free. You just go online. It's super cool. You can even see compatibility, oh, I have my boyfriend, are we really compatible? It's really fun. So I think I had another question. What's a good way to network during the times we are in? Oh yes, okay. LinkedIn is your friend. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for this question, Chico. LinkedIn is your friend, and I've been using LinkedIn even before Rona happened, right? Because you can connect with people all over the world, all over the country, and make those connections and just get things going. I've talked to high-level people at different companies that I've been interested in working at throughout my career, just by going on LinkedIn, right? And so with that makes me think of another thing. Make sure, if you're a professional, make sure your LinkedIn is up to date. Make sure you have a headshot. Make sure that you have your information up to date on your LinkedIn page, because that is so important. And if you reach out to someone and you're talking to them and you don't have a picture, you don't have any information about yourself, they're gonna be like, is this spam? Who is this, right? So I would say LinkedIn is huge. If you're a creative, Instagram, slide in them DMs, right? Just whatever you gotta do to make it happen. Send emails, start Googling people. If you're interested in different companies, Google the companies and look up who the different positions are and try to find their contact information and just reach out. You will be surprised how many people are willing to help you and speak with you. Okay, we are running out of time here. This time is going by really fast. This has been fun. Okay, so last thing that I wanted to talk about is, I think this is probably the most important thing, is to be yourself, right? Be yourself. Your personal brand is personal. Embrace your individuality. Don't be afraid to be who you are, because at the end of the day, that is what makes you unique. That is what's going to set you apart from somebody that might have the same credentials as you, right? That might have the same background as you or similar background to you. Be yourself. And don't let anybody tell you that there's anything wrong with your interests, with your dreams, with something that you're thinking about doing, with your plans. Do not ever let anyone stop you from achieving your dreams. Be yourself, be true to yourself, and don't ever let anyone tell you that something is wrong with you because you're thinking outside of the box or you want to do something that hasn't been done. And I am speaking from personal experience right now, right? I have definitely fed into kind of that self-doubt that comes with talking to different people who are naysayers, who are small-minded, and who might just be a little bitter, right? Maybe things didn't work out for them, and they have something to tell you that is really negative and kind of goes against everything that you believe in and everything that you're working towards. And so what I want you to do, and remember this, is to be yourself. I got one more question. How can we get in touch with you, and do you provide any services? So you can get in touch with me on my Instagram, Cloud, which is my last name. Yes, that's my last name. Cloud, ESQ. I do not provide any individual services really, because I work for the federal government, and so I can only work for the federal government right now. But right now. So with that, please stay in touch with me. I'm on Instagram, Cloud ESQ, and we can talk it up, right? I know that this time has been very difficult for a lot of small business owners, and the Small Business Administration has helped a lot of people get through this time, but we don't know when this is going to be over with. So we're still trying to figure things out and get things going for everybody. So please stay in touch. I hope you all enjoyed this. I'm just going to do a quick recap of the main 4 points that we made. Identify your personal brand. Professionalism is key. Be strategic. And lastly, be yourself. I think that is be yourself in everything that you do, right? I am a Black woman, but I'm also an attorney, right? So yeah, I might have to put on my suit every once in a while, but I'm gonna have my my Marley twist, and some days I have my afro, and that's what it is. I'm not here to conform for anyone, right? And we shouldn't do that, because then we're just gonna be robots. We're just gonna all be the same. No, we want to be ourselves, right? So I just want to say once again, thank you so much. This has been so much fun. I've enjoyed speaking with y'all and answering your questions. Please stay in touch with me. Again, my Instagram is CloudESQ. And I am going to close it out. Thank you guys so much, and hope to talk to you soon. Thanks.